Hi there, I'm Scott Lowe with ActualTech Media, and thank you for joining us for this roadcast. I am here today at Arcserve with Jeff Whitehead, who is the CTO of Arcserve. Jeff, thank you for having us here today.
Hello, welcome.
And behind us, we see something really cool for IT people. We see a large data center environment. Tell us what this is.
Yeah, so this is our test and staging environment, and it's the final integration point for our development teams, which are located in China, India, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and here in Sunnyvale. And it's where we put all the pieces together before we deploy it to our cloud for the UDP Cloud Direct product.
So one of the things that's a huge trend in the market today is this idea of making things easy, simplicity. You know, I say simplicity is the new black a lot because people really are trying to make things that are easier to use, easier to deploy, easier to manage. What is UDP Cloud Direct and Arcserve in general doing to help this simplicity movement?
So UDP Cloud Direct was always designed as a enterprise-style backup product, but for the mid-market where you either have an IT person who is running multiple hats, or maybe they don't have an IT person, maybe they're backing up a branch office where the office manager also has to take care of a couple servers. So we really wanted to make it so that it's easy to approach. We've got a web-based UI that you can access from everywhere, and it really is as easy as download the agent, say what you want to back up, and what schedule you want to back it up, and it just goes from there. The other thing that we're doing is we're taking the entire product line across the Arcserve products and UDP Cloud Direct and starting to unify them from a command and control point of view, putting them all behind one UI. It's going to give you visibility across your entire enterprise, what's being backed up where, how are you doing in terms of RPOs, RTOs, SLA compliance, all those type of things in one convenient dashboard.
Now, my understanding of UDP Cloud Direct specifically is that it's also got an agentless option. How does the agentless option work? I mean, if I'm on a local network, I know I can point to a share and I can back it up. But if I'm backing up to the cloud, there's something more that has to be happening.
Yeah, so the agentless option communicates to the vCenter or to the Hyper-V and enumerates the virtual machines within the environment. We can then exclude or include based on some rules that you can set up. But basically, it dynamically detects at backup time what's there, and then it slurps it in out of that virtual environment and transmits it across the WAN where it lands in our data center. And it can either be a backup at that point, or it can be images that are inside our virtualization fabric that are ready to be booted in case of disaster.
I really like the word slurp in that context. It made me laugh a little bit. I haven't heard people talk about slurping data, which is awesome. And when we think about, when we talk about agentless, we're talking about virtual machines only, not bare metal or desktops or something like that. They have to have an agent.
Yeah, bare metal machines have to have an agent. Though I will say we can back up anything that we can see as a file or folder. So if you've got like a Buffalo box or some type of NAS array, we can mount that up and back that up just as if it were a local system.
Cool. Now, when we think about RTO, RPO, what's UDP Cloud Direct going to help me with there?
UDP Cloud Direct is designed for servers, and right now we're in this kind of back it up every night kind of tempo that people are used to for their traditional tape backups or disk-to-disk backups. We're currently working on taking some technology from one of the Arcserve products, UDP. UDP is the image-based backup product that's been inside the Arcserve portfolio for about 2 or 3 years now. And basically what it is a filter driver that sits on top of a machine, and it tracks the changes and regions of the disk that have changed as it's been running, very much like VMware's CBT or change block tracking. And that way we don't have to scan through the whole disk to find out what's changed. We can just transmit the portions that have changed directly to the cloud.
So that filter driver is really the key to being able to do more granular. It's close to continuous data protection as you can get in a reasonable way with the cloud.
Right, and we're going to go even further than that with the RHA product. RHA is a replication high availability product, and that's made for like mission critical databases, things where we're going to have sort of that sub-second replication where things are really in sync from A to B. That's where we're going to get the really tight RPOs. We're targeting the sub 1 hour, somewhere between an hour and 15-minute RPOs with this UDP filter driver, which is currently in testing right now.
And when we think about some of the enterprise applications that people are using, we talked about this a little bit in another video, but Tell me what we can do as far as single item recovery and things like that in Exchange, SQL, SharePoint, some of those critical applications.
So we support Exchange and SQL Server by being application aware. We hook in through their VSS drivers. But for all of our disk images, we do something that I think is pretty cool. We take the disk image and upload it to the cloud, but you can actually use our web UI to click into that image. And so if you want to extract a single file, you can pull that back down, because that really is one of the most common use cases is, oops, I deleted a file. I didn't mean to do that.
Right. Now, one of the biggest scourges on the planet right now is ransomware.
Right.
What is UDP Cloud Direct helping me with is to help protect against those sorts of things? So
I probably should have started with an overview of UDP Cloud Direct. UDP Cloud Direct is composed of three major components. The first component is that agent that we talked about. The second part is that web UI, and I've mentioned that. But the third part is our data center. And the way that we store the data on the back end is a little bit special. We go to great lengths to ensure data integrity. But long story short, to answer your question, after a backup is taken, we take a snapshot. It's a frozen, immutable snapshot at a file system layer that even if I wanted to, I couldn't modify it.
That keyword is immutable.
Immutable,
Understood.
yes. And more than immutable, we also have SHA-1 cryptographic hashes on it to prove that it's bit for bit the same as what we got from the customer side. So that makes us be usable for things like forensics and chain of custody and healthcare and other industries where they care about such things.
Yeah, even industries where they don't care about it, when you start thinking about legal holds and stuff like that, chain of custody becomes a really key component.
Absolutely.
So it's really good across the customer base. Now, you mentioned that ultimately the goal is to merge the products in some way. I mean, Arcserve has been around I started working with Arcserve in the mid-90s on NetWare.
Right.
And it's come a long way since then, obviously. I mean, you're not using those things anymore. You've got a lot of work to do to bring these products together. What's that going to look like for the customer ultimately in a very high level?
So at a high level, we're going to give them one dashboard that is going to give them command and control over all of the technologies within our portfolio, to let them see and control. And I want to back up, this Exchange server, I need a real-time replica, locally, and then one to the cloud. This file server that holds the lunch menus, back that up once a week and only put it on, an ephemeral storage over here. There'll be a lot of options with a overall command and control visible so that you can see how you're doing on your RPOs, RTOs, and SLA compliance.
Speaking of compliance, let's talk about one thing that's really impacting a lot of people, and this is the EU GDPR regulations.
Yes.
What will you be able to do around those with this to help people better protect themselves against some of the potential ramifications of this regulatory framework?
So first and foremost, I think that the reaction to GDPR is very much akin to how we reacted to Sarbanes-Oxley 10, 15 years ago. And I think there's kind of a bit of an overreaction right now that's like, this thing's new, it's coming, it's scary, it's gonna be okay. There's a set of requirements. They're very much analogous, 80% in common with what the US HIPAA requirements are. There's a few new wrinkles there, but we'll figure it out. One of the things that we do, and we always have done, is give our customers complete transparency and control as to where their data lives. And other things like, it's encrypted at flight, it's encrypted at rest, there's a key per volume per customer. There's access logs, so they can go and without having to trust us, they can see who's accessed that data. All those kinds of things build a stronger core, of which GDPR becomes one facet, but we already serve HIPAA customers, we already serve higher education, we serve state and local government, we even serve ITAR customers.
Excellent. Jeff, thank you so much for having us here today and having this conversation.
Great, thank you.
And thank you to our audience for watching this video.